Allahumma ajil waliyik al-faraj. So in today's world, as an introduction, until Brother Haidar finishes his tea and comes on with a little bit. In today's world, it doesn't really matter your intention behind your studying, right? As long as you're doing your academic studies well, no one's going to ask you your intention. Why are you doing this? Right? You want to become a multi-billionaire? Doesn't matter, as long as you're studying. You want to become a scientist, you want to help humanity, you want to destroy humanity? Again, no one asks you this question. You've gone through the enrollment forms. Does anyone ask you, why do you want to do this? Or do they see this in a critical form if they ask you why you want to study? No. But as long as you're paying the fees and you're studying well, then that's more than enough. But when it comes to the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, it makes a major difference why you want to undergo anything that you do, especially your studies, especially the seeking of knowledge. And so yes, you need to become a critique of your own self and ask yourself, why do I want to know? Why do I want to study? Why am I seeking knowledge? This is the case with عنوان البصري. So inshallah, you've been following the story of عنوان البصري. In a nutshell, the guy was I think a 96-year-old man who had studied under some of the very well-known Sunni scholars, one of which was Malik ibn Anas, right? So Malik ibn Anas is one of the 4 leading imams, if they call them. So A'immatul Madahib, one of them is Malik ibn Anas. عنوان al-Basri was a committed student of Malik ibn Anas. And you can imagine how much he has acquired in fame, credibility, even perhaps in data and information. Because again, Malik ibn Anas was a very eminent person. But then he says that I noticed that there is a grandson of Rasulullah in our presence. Who happens to be who? Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, right? So the 6th Imam, he is the son of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. Imam al-Baqir is the son of Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam. Imam Zayn al-Abidin was, as they call him, Sayyidul Tabi'een. Sayyidul Tabi'een Ali ibn Hussein. His grandson is Imam al-Sadiq. So عنوان al-Basri thinks to himself that all this time, and I'm seeking knowledge from this and that, but then there is Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq. Why shouldn't I come and study under him? He is more worthy of teaching than basically any other person out there. So he says that I went to Imam al-Sadiq. But now, look how the Imam touches on the very subtle yet significant part of all of this, which is what? His intention. So first of all, he comes to the Imam. He says, Ya Rasulullah, I came to you. The Imam said, why did you come to me? He said, I want to learn knowledge from you. I want to seek knowledge. The Imam knows that many of those people who seek knowledge, they don't have a pure intention. Why are they seeking knowledge? Even though they're seeking it from the legitimate source who is the Imam himself. But he's seeking knowledge for a distorted or a misguided intention. He wants to acquire knowledge so that people would say, oh, mashallah, this guy is a scholar. MashaAllah, how knowledgeable this person is. And here is where the Imam wants to make a correction. Again, his intention. So what does the Imam do? The Imam makes him become a critique of himself. So he says, you know what? I'm too busy for you. Go away. So he goes away, starts thinking and contemplating, why did the Imam kick me away? What did he find in me that he found me unworthy of his knowledge? See? So the Imam is making him wake up to the reality. It's a wake-up call for him. Go away, I don't want to teach you. Because the Imam asked him, he said, where have you been all this time? So you're around 90 years old. You're just below 100 years old. It's been 90 years, right? You're 90 years late. Why didn't you come when you were in your 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s, for God's sake? So no, you don't want, you haven't found me worthy of teaching you, I won't find you worthy of being taught. Go away. So he goes back, then he starts contemplating and thinking. He says that I thought to myself, maybe I'm really not worthy of his knowledge. I'm not worthy of his knowledge. So what does he do? He goes to the mosque of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He says, I went there, then I started doing dua, weeping, crying. And I asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ilahi, I want from the knowledge of Imam al-Sadiq. He's not willing to give me. Ilahi, I ask you, by the significant status of your beloved Prophet, Rasulullah, oh Allah, I ask you to make the heart of Imam al-Sadiq passionate towards me. As in, make Imam al-Sadiq accept me as his student. Why expel me? Why kick me out? So he says that from that day onward, I forgot all about Malik ibn Anas. I've been wasting all my life searching for knowledge from this guy and that guy, while the source of knowledge is here, is in the house of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, right? فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. If you lack knowledge, if you don't have the guidance, go seek the knowledge from who? Ahlul Dhikr. Ahlul Dhikr are the people of remembrance. Who are the people of remembrance? The Quran describes itself as dhikr. And so Ahlul Dhikr are the ones that the Quran was revealed onto them. Rasulullah and his family. So he says, from that day, I made the decision to stay away from everyone until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me the permission to seek knowledge from the very source, from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. Again, he says he wept and he cried and he asked Allah. I'll say this point parenthetically. Again, sometimes they want you to feel thirsty. They want you to realize your thirst. You know how, if I'm always saturated, right? If always my thirst is quenched, I wouldn't raise my hand and say, Ilahi, give me food, would I? If I have enough money, my source of income is very well secured, I would never think, Ilahi, these beautiful du'as that the brothers are reciting after salat, Allahumma innahu laysa li ilmun بموضع رزقي وإنما أطلبه بخطرات تخطر على قلبي. Oh Allah, I don't know where my rizq is. As long as it's secured, I have a good 9-to-5 job, right? And the paycheck, the money is coming to my bank account, I wouldn't find it important for me to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then what happens if Allah stops giving me rizq? I'll be the first one attending the mosque. I will be the first one doing dua. I will be the first one crying and asking Allah for rizq. This is why we have a hadith that an angel came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, Ya Rasulullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent me to give you this option. لو شئت جعلت لك بطحاء مكة ذهبا. بطحاء Mecca is surrounded by mountains. For those of you who've been to Mecca, you know. Inshallah, Allah gives us the tawfiq to go. So there is Jabal Abi Qubays and the surrounding mountains. Then you have this valley. The valley, you know how when it rains, it pours, it becomes very quickly floody in Mecca. The angel says, Ya Rasulullah, if you want, Allah has given you this option, that this valley of Mecca becomes all of it gold, one piece of bullion, one piece of gold. You could become, the ultra rich person that humanity has never seen the like. So Rasulullah said, you know what? No, I don't want this. He said, why? He said, Ilahi, أجوع يوما فأسألك. Let me be hungry one day so that I ask you. Do you know it's disastrous for a person to be always in a good situation? That's very bad. No, we have to go through tribulations every now and then. We have to go through hunger every now and then. It's good for us. Trust me, it's good for us. Otherwise, you'll become Elon Musk, the first trillionaire. But when they ask him about God, he says, you know what? I don't think he exists. In fact, he says, I think we're living in this world of what does he call it? Of matrix, that maybe we don't even exist. It's like a brain in a jar, that we're having these dreams. And so this guy is hallucinating. Why? Because he has never felt reality. He's never witnessed that moment of truth. When do you acquire the moment of truth? When you become poor, when you become hungry, when you become needy, when you become painful, when you have pain, when you visit the doctor, when you go to the graveyard and see the deceased and the dead people, you wake up. And so it's good for you. لا خير في جسد لا يزكى في كل 40 يوما, the hadith says. There is no good in a body that doesn't go through trouble and pain every 40 days. So the guy says, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, what do you mean? He says, no, sometimes you have a headache, that's good for you. Sometimes you're playing, let's say, soccer in school, and you fall, and you're injured, and you have bruise, that's good for you. That's good for you. Because you feel your need. That's good. Otherwise, you will think to yourself that I am, astaghfirullah, I'm God. I have everything, I can do everything. That's disastrous. And so sometimes they make you have this feeling so that you resort back to them. You go back to Allah, you raise your hand. So Rasulullah said, no, Ya Allah, I don't want all this money, I don't want all this gold, I don't want to be ultra rich. Why? Because when I become hungry, I do sujood, I ask you for food, Ilahi. I ask you for food, I ask you for sustenance, I ask you for rizq. But then if this continues, and I am always in need, and I am always, struggling, that's also bad. So Allah strikes a balance for us. One day He gives us, so that what happens? I become thankful, ahsantum. I become grateful. If He gives us on a daily basis, I forget to say Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, if the food is secured. Sometimes I tend to forget to say, Ilahi, thank you for this food, this delicious food. Thank you for, giving me those loving parents, the mother that cooks. And that's again the problem. If the mother does her job on a daily basis, I tend to forget. No, she has to do her job. She's always there for me. But if she doesn't one day, that's a reminder for me. Again, for the father. Everything that is secured continuously, it's dangerous for us. Unless I am very vigilant, I am always remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and remembering the blessings that Allah has bestowed upon me. And so he says, Ya Rasulullah, no, what I want to ask you is that one day, Ilahi, give me food, and one day leave me. So that when I am hungry, I ask you, and when I am saturated, I am full, I thank you. أجوع يوما فأسألك وأشبع يوما فأشكرك. This is why in a beautiful piece of wisdom, Luqman says to his son, he says, Son, لا تنام, don't place your head to sleep only over the most comforting of beds. The silk cloth. And he says, son, don't eat but the most delicious of food. He said, Dad, what are you talking about? We don't have money. He said, no, you got me wrong. He said, if you're very hungry, then whatever you eat, it's going to be the most delicious. When you are very tired, wherever you sleep, it's going to be the most comforting. And so he wants to tell him that, look, if you want the delicious food, just be hungry for a while, fast for a while, then that food will be very delicious. But if you're eating non-stop, you will never enjoy food. If you're sleeping non-stop, you will never enjoy sleeping and having a rest, taking a rest. So the idea here is that if you want to be grateful, if you want to have gratitude, then you need to prevent yourself a little bit. Don't eat always when your body wants you to eat. Don't drink whenever you want to drink. Sometimes, don't give your body what it wants. That's good for you, because then you'll become grateful. And so this is exactly what Imam Sadiq did to عنوان البصري. He came to ask the Imam, but the Imam knew that he just wants to have extra knowledge to add to his knowledge. He's not grateful to the knowledge of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He expels him. He goes for a while, weeps and cries and asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he eventually purifies his intention. He purifies his heart. He becomes grateful towards the Imam and his knowledge. Then he comes back. He comes back to the Imam. He sits next to the door of the Imam. Then he says, a person came, a slave came. He said, Ya Abu Abdullah, you have been given the permission. Excuse me, he says, so the slave asks him, he says, why are you here? He says, I want to see the Imam. He goes inside, the slave comes back outside. He says, Ya Abu Abdullah. His title was Abu Abdullah. Ya Abu Abdullah, you have now been given the permission to visit your Imam. You know how we can't see our Imam? Do you know why? This is the exact reason. This is the reason. Because people don't appreciate their Imams. Ya Akhi Amir al-Mu'mineen was there. You killed him. Imam al-Hassan was killed. Imam Hussein was killed. Every Imam was killed, either by poison or, like Abu Abdullah, was butchered. Salamullahi alayhi. So people don't appreciate the Imams. Allah wants us to recognize the significance of His vicegerents, those who have the knowledge to guide us, and only then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send the Imam to guide us. But if we don't want him, if we can't appreciate, if we keep on thinking that we can, salvage ourselves from this misery that we're living in, the poverty, the problems, the ongoing wars, Allah will say, you know what? You don't appreciate, then so be it. Live this miserable life of yours that you want to live. But then if we appreciate, if we acknowledge, if we recognize that we can't do it on our own, it's the Imam who can help us. It's the Imam who can take our hands and take us out of this misery. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send His Imam. Until that day, we will live in this miserable life of ours. So he comes to the Imam. He says, I came and I said, Assalamu ala Sharif. Al-Sharif basically means the respected, right? Assalamu ala Sharif. فقال, excuse me, so the guy, عنوان al-Basri, tells the slave that my reason for visiting Imam Sadiq is just to say salam to him. Now he says Al-Sharif. Why does he say Al-Sharif? Al-Sharif basically means the respected person. And I'll conclude, inshallah, later on, we can continue the hadith with one point. There is a very respected lady in the city of Hilla. The Iraqis call her As-Sayyida Sharifa. Is that her name? No, that's not her name. As-Sharifa, again, means the respected. Who is this As-Sayyida Sharifa? Some people ask. And I find it very important for us to know this woman, this respected lady. As-Sharifa basically was a title given to the children of Rasulullah. Sometimes they call them Sayyids, sometimes they call them Sharif. So basically they have the same connotation in giving respect to them. But usually, Ash-Sharif or Ash-Sharifa is given to the descendants of Imam al-Hasan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam, while As-Sayyid or As-Sayyida is given to the descendants of who? Imam al-Husayn salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Now, after Imam al-Sajjad, all the children, all the Imams are from the descendants are descendants of Imam al-Husayn and Imam al-Hasan. How? Because Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam is married to his cousin, who is the daughter of Imam al-Hasan, and this daughter becomes the mother of Imam al-Baqir, and Imam al-Baqir is the father of the Imam al-Sadiq, and so on and so forth. Who is this woman? As-Sayyida Sharifa. What was her name? Her name is Fatima. Fatima, obviously, is the name of Fatima to Zahra, right? Imam al-Husayn had a daughter, he named her Fatima. Imam al-Hasan had a daughter, he also named her Fatima. Interestingly, the daughter of Imam al-Hasan and the daughter of Imam al-Husayn, even though they had different fathers, but their mother was one. So Imam al-Hasan was married to a woman by the name of Ishaq, and Allah gave him a daughter. He named her Fatima after his mother, who is the Sayyida Sharifa, who is the mother of Imam al-Baqir. And then after Imam al-Hasan, Imam al-Husayn got married to Ishaq, and Allah gave him a daughter by the name of Fatima. He named her after his mother, Fatima al-Zahra. So Fatima bint al-Husayn and Fatima bint al-Hasan, but again, the same mother. Fatima bint al-Hasan is married to Ali ibn al-Husayn. Fatima bint al-Husayn is married to Abdullah ibn al-Hasan. This is very interesting and twist. So there's a twist in it. Fatima bint al-Husayn is the mother of the Hasanis. Fatima bint al-Hasan is the mother of the Husayni. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يوفقنا لما يحب ويرضى. الباقي إن شاء الله لاحقا. وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سيدنا